everyone, Cassie here with Kenra Professional. I'm excited to show you this Italian bob look today. Let's get started. One of the reasons I love the Rapid Hydration Mask Light is that it's going to be super lightweight for her hair. It's not going to overburden it or weigh it down and give us beautiful, shiny, healthy hair in just 3 minutes. Today I'm going to be using Daily Provisions on her hair. I love a leave-in conditioner. One I use as a cutting lotion. It's perfect, gives the hair a nice amount of slip. Now let's get right into the parting. I'm going to take her hair, after I comb it out here, I'm gonna take her hair and do a simple profile parting. Profile parting just being like a straight back middle section from the front all the way into the parietal ridge. So I've taken her first section here, diagonal forward, and this is just gonna be our guide point. For her perimeter, I'm going to do a point cut. I'm using no tension, pulling the hair out from the head as it lives and coming in using the comb as my guide and point cutting. Using no tension will really allow her hair to just live in its most perfect place, and she won't have to fight it nearly as much when she blows it dry. Doing a diagonal forward parting, but I'm doing a really more square line in the back. And you can see that, again, by using her natural hair's fall, the texture will really be allowed to show. Next section, same diagonal forward parting. Now on these sections, I am going to be using my fingers as my guide. I'm going to be pulling out just a little bit. I'm going to be creating a soft graduation in this cut. Not a dramatic graduation, but it's just a soft graduation. Again, this is going to give her a nice amount of movement throughout the hair. Pulling it down and squaring my line. I'm making sure that all the sections stay in the back of the head. Again, and instead of following the hair around her head, I'm pulling it back into a straight line. And now I'm just right above the occipital bone. I'm going to keep her head leaned forward until this point, all the way through this next section, and then I'll be able to put her hair back in an upward position. Things I always try to be mindful of when I'm doing a cut that is blunt on the bottom, when I'm holding the hair, that I'm not flipping out my guideline. So I'm making sure that I'm always pulling my guide down straight so you can see that. If I was to flip the hair, I'm actually going to create a flip on the bottom of her hair that will be fighting again later when she's trying to blow dry. Another pro tip that's super important, when you're cutting, you always want to make sure that you're not pulling down so much hair that you can't see that guide underneath. If you can't see what you're cutting, you can't see that guide, you've taken too much hair. Never guess. Always make sure that you're checking and you can see what you're doing. You can already see how cute, what this length is going to look really great on her. Again, with these sections, I'm pulling my line straight to the back, straight to the back. So there will be a little bit of over direction as I come around to the sides here. Again, just preserving some of that length, not creating a dramatic A-line, but preserving some of that length. Now from this point, I'm going to be working one side and then coming back and working the opposite side. So I'll be finishing this full side first and then going over on the other side. So maintaining a slight diagonal forward line, letting the hair fall more in its natural position. And you'll see I'm going to work from the back, standing at the back, working around to my sides, again, over directing, and then I'll come over to my side just to match up. Little pro tip is You can always leave these longer than you think you need them and then come back in. And the way I check it at the end is I'll tuck it behind the ear. Again, kind of just preserving that section. And I can cut that point off. And that will preserve any of that length in the front. Okay, now we're at a section where it's just the sides, and you can see we're just gonna clean that up and then we'll move on to the other side. And one girl who... So again, working from the other side, I'm gonna be starting in the back, over directing slightly, and then come to the front. And the reason we're doing this is because we'll be adding some layering to her hair. And what I wanna make sure is that when she dries, or when we do that, we're keeping this corner intact. So many times we do cuts like this, we add layers in, and then they end up really rounded out in the front when we wanted to keep it more sharp, a little bit more bobbish. Now with the perimeter finish, I'm gonna come around to the front and just double check my points and make sure that my length matches up and is correct. Now we're gonna be building in a little bit of layering. One of the things that I notice about Italian bobs too is a lot of times they have a little bit of a soft, light flyaway fringe. So I like to give it like just a nice, we're not gonna go for a full fringe or anything, but give her a little bit of wispiness, a little bit of airiness, and it'll give it a lot more movement. Just taking a little triangle section here. This is gonna be my guide point for my fringing area. And this is just a nice little triangle. I'm gonna be doing a little bit of slide cutting, nothing too dramatic. Pulling the hair forward. Double check, engaging that length. I love the wispiness of it. The whole idea is that this is very loose and light and airy and carefree. So using that as my guide, taking my next section, pulling straight out from the head. You can see how preserving these corners here has helped, you know, preserve the bob nature, the more square nature of the bob, but then taking these layers, we're not cutting into that. So as long as we're staying in through this top section, we're not gonna be cutting into this perimeter guide. Good. I like to do all of this kind of basic cutting wet. And then when I'm finished, I can always go back in and do more detail work with it dry. I think this is gonna be a great cut for her. It's gonna be so easy. I think this is something that she could easily just air dry and go, or style in multiple ways. So now I'm just gonna go in and do a little bit of a rough dry, touch it up as I go with a round brush just to keep you know, the hair under control. And we'll finish her with a little bit of curling iron and some heat styling. Today I'm gonna be using the Volume Mist 2. One of the things I love about this is that it's buildable. It'll be a real multitasker. I'm gonna use it on her hair wet. I'm gonna use it as I'm styling. And it's gonna give me buildable volume. It's going to have a light mist that won't weigh her hair down as we use it. So this is just going to be a real multitasker tool, and you'll even see at the end how we can maximize the volume by adding more product. All right, so we're finished with the rough dry. First of all, let's talk about how much volume she has. This is wild. I love the Voluminous. Seriously, so much volume. The thing of it is that we talked about this in the beginning with her hair. She has a lot of hair, but it's so fine. But it is exactly that kind of hair that can get weighed down so easily. So I love how light this mist is and how much like flow and airiness we're getting from her hair. I'm just gonna detail it now with a curling iron, just giving her a nice little beachy wave, and we'll show you the end results. So for the curl pattern in this, I am just going to do a back and forth curl. I'm going to work in a vertical section, just really loose, pulling it through. Just again, a really nice beachy wave. Now that she is finished curling, I'm gonna go in with a little bit of our Texturizing Taffy just to give it a little bit of separation and pieciness. I like to really emulsify it in the palm of my hands, and then I pull it out to my fingertips, I come in underneath and really just pull it forward and break apart those curls and give it a little bit of texture. And then, as I was saying before, we can go back in with our volume mist. I mean, not that she doesn't have enough volume, but if she wants more, we can go back in with our volume mist and give her even more added volume. And that completes our Italian bob using our volume mist too. So that's it. This is our final look. Raina, what do you think?
It's beautiful.
Yay! I love it. We hope you love it too. If you did, let us know what you think in the comments below. Let us know what other haircuts you want to see from us. And don't forget to subscribe and follow Kenra Professional for more YouTube tutorials just like this.